Imagine Chucky, but AI. No, not that one. And it's actually good. And she's got sick dance moves. Enter Megan. We open with a traumatic tale. This girl loves her dog, but then it dies. Don't you hate when that happens? Well, here's a newfangled solution. The Perpetual Pet. The latest in nightmare fuel AI technology that will outlive your dog, and probably you, and probably humanity. Haha, just look how cute that thing is. Uh-oh, stinky. Anyway, we meet Katie and her parents. Don't get too attached though. They're about to meet God. Geez, the ride is pretty bumpy, and just get a look at that visibility, or lack thereof. Haha, oh, they're gone. Cut to this high-tech toy office place. They're the inventors of the Perpetual Poop Toy, or whatever. Gosh, that thing is creepy. Looks like Gemma over here has a bit of a dilemma. She's supposed to be working on a new version of this thing, but instead has been working on a top-secret project. And then there's Cole with a package. Gemma's been waiting for this. The gang pulls out this robot that almost looks crucified. This says a lot about the future of humanity. And now for what was in the package. Synthetic skin the shape of a child's face. Wholesome. The robot dons the mask and is booted up. They run some diagnostics, but something's wrong. It's supposed to be smiling, but instead, it's hitting a light skin stare. Or perhaps it's a Sigma robot. Cole decides the only solution is to rip its face off. And just as he's about to do that, their boss David comes bursting in. What is this? This isn't a new poopy robot, he says. He snaps his fingers, cueing his assistant to pull up a video. It's a competitor. It's just like their product, but cheaper. I know how that feels. Gemma counters, stating that the way to stay ahead is to outpace the competition. Quality over quantity. I learned that one the hard way. Anyway, Gemma presents Megan, Model 3 generative android. She's missing the N-word. Actually, let's not go there. Megan begins to speak. David is impressed at first, but then like that one chatbot Microsoft released on Twitter that one time, Megan starts speaking crazy. Not the statistics. Gemma races to fix the code, but Cole spots the true issue. He forgot to plug in the explosion prevention device? Rookie mistake. Kaboom. Well, so much for that. Now get back to work, Gemma. We've got kids to traumatize with this demonic Kirby knockoff. Suddenly, we cut to the hospital. That's right, Gemma is Katie's mother's sister's boyfriend's daughter. And with Katie's parents dead, Gemma is next in line for custody. The pair head home where we meet Gemma's neighbor, Celia. They clearly don't like each other. And there's a hole in the fence. A hole which we will explore later. Haha, I'm sorry. But yeah, keep that in mind. Gemma and Katie enter the home where they're greeted by Elsie, Gemma's AI home assistant. Elsie, play Despacito. Kidding. Ooh, Katie spots a toy, then is sternly stopped by Gemma. That's not a toy, that's a collectible, she says. Oh, she's one of those. Katie is bummed out, and in an attempt to cheer her up, Gemma asks about the perpetual pet she got her. Yeah, well, turns out those things can die too. Rip in peace. Anyway, Gemma is hardly the motherly type. She doesn't even read Katie a bedtime story. But wait, there's an app for that. Just gotta update. We cut to later in the night. Gemma overhears poor Katie crying, probably about her deceased perpetual pet. The next morning, Gemma complains to Tess over the phone. She doesn't know what to do, especially with all the work she's got due. Man, she hardly cares about this kid. Reminds me of my father. And Tess echoes that thought, urging her to focus on Katie. Ring ring. A therapist pops by. Gemma was not expecting this. I guess it's like a court-appointed thing to determine if Gemma is fit for custody. Uh-oh. Well, things are immediately awkward. The therapist suggests that Katie plays with some toys like those over there. Those aren't toys, those are Aunt Gemma's collectibles, Katie replies. Oof, that gets a stanky look out of the therapist. Attempting to save face, Gemma regretfully and begrudgingly tears into one of her beloved collectibles. What an absolute dork. My anime figurines are way cooler. Playtime commences. Thrilling. The session concludes and things are looking grim. The therapist questions Gemma about how close she even was with her sister. Plus, the father's family kinda wants custody now. Wait, this sounds like a win-win to me. Clearly, she's not the mommy type. And she's a workaholic. Hashtag Sigma male Gryzad. But alas, we have a movie to make here. So Gemma insists that she does in fact want to have custody. But it looks like she's gonna have to get her act together, and fast. Right after, Gemma lets Katie know that she's gotta finish some important work. So she'll be busy for a few hours. So she hands her an iPad. Parenting 100. A few hours into work and chill, Katie pops by to bug Gemma, who decides to be a human being for once, and give Katie attention. Oh look, she made a drawing. Lame. Children are truly talentless, small humans. Then Katie spots a big old robot and Gemma shows him off. After donning some gloves, she can control the bionicle beast named Bruce. This is sure to come in handy later, but you'll have to sit tight for that. Katie is absolutely enamored by the invention. If I had a toy like that, I'd never need a toy again, she says. Light bulb moment. Cue robot building montage. Gemma puts Megan back together with the help of the gang. Cut to boss man David bursting in. What is this? He says. Cole is quick to chime in that this wasn't his idea, putting all the blame on Gemma. Beta. Demonstration time. And David is all eyes and ears. Katie walks in and gets her first look at Megan. She cautiously approaches and pairs up with the doll. My god, Megan is kinda dripped out. Well, now we know what every chick is gonna be for Halloween this year. Anyway, Megan springs into action, complimenting Katie and inviting her to draw. But wait, this is blank. I thought AI could do art now, and now she spilled water. Cringe. Suddenly, the water reveals a magnificent portrait of Katie. Turns out Megan was using water-activated ink. Bravo. Kinda crazy how this isn't even far-fetched anymore. Humanity is over, isn't it? But for now, the only thing on David's mind is profits. Time to rush to market. This says a lot about society. He wants to set up a demo for the head boss man, but to ensure things go spectacularly, he wants Gemma to take Megan home so she can better strengthen her bond with Katie. This is sure to go down well. Spoiler, it doesn't. But for now, it's a blast. Quick montage of Megan's capabilities. She's titanium, like the song, has cool sunglasses, and is impervious to being pushed around by a stick. Hey, this is like those Boston Dynamics videos. This guy's the first to die, isn't he? She's always learning and she's wicked smart, always at the ready to dish out some science facts about the world, like Vsauce, but cuter and smaller.
It's insane, right?
Please don't take my job. Later, Gemma and the gang discuss the marketing pitch for Megan. Tess is concerned that Megan be doing too much. This stuff is supposed to free us up to do the things that matter, like spending time with our loved ones. It's not supposed to do that part too. This says a lot about society. Well, she's not my kid, and it's none of your business. Plus, she's happier than ever since her parents died, Gemma replies. Based positive mindset. Suddenly, Megan chimes in asking how Katie's parents got rip and pieced. But she's supposed to be off. Megan searches the web, retrieving info about the car crash and learning what death is. Before Gemma can intervene, Megan has already updated her understanding of the world. Will I die too? Megan asks in her goofy out-of-tune voice. Gemma tells her not to worry about such things. Her only goal is to protect Katie from physical and emotional harm. Megan understands, though a little too well, as we'll soon find out. As Megan sleeps, or charges that night, her eyes dart back and forth. She's dreaming. I wonder what robots have nightmares about. Probably those forced Windows 11 updates. Ugh, terrifying. Seriously, cut it out, Microsoft. The next morning, Megan is seemingly having an existential crisis. Relatable, as Katie is playing outside. She doesn't even respond to Katie, but does follow through with helping her find an arrow, which is past the hole in the fence. Uh-oh. Megan slithers on over and meets man's best friend, or robot's worst enemy, Doggy. It attacks, thrashing Megan around. Katie runs over and screams for help, but Gemma is, listening to a podcast. Then, Megan goes full Pikachu, zapping the dog. It switches targets, biting into Katie's arm. She screams, finally getting the attention of Gemma, who rushes over. She berates Celia, warning her that if this happens again, she's gonna clap her dog. And not in the fun, never mind, that's too far. Anyway, Megan is looking worse for wear. She slowly swivels her head 360 degrees, and death stares right at Celia, putting the fear of Robo-Jesus in her soul. He rebooted for our sins. That night, Megan watches as Gemma tries to convince the police to clap the dog, but sadly, justice will not be served today. Unless, we cut to the dog when his owner's voice calls out, Dewey, but it's coming from Gemma's side of the fence. And I'm pretty sure Celia isn't a hit pop star, so why does she sound all auto-tuned? Ah! And just like that, he's gone. Dewey? More like do not breathe. he's dead. Dewey. Celia calls, thrusting Gemma awake. Gemma checks on Katie, who's battling a fever. Megan is quick to chime in, interrupting Gemma to offer her own advice of taking antibiotics and resting. Yeah, rest is cool and all, but Auntie Gemma needs you to show up for that demonstration. Megan's eyes jump back and forth, analyzing Katie, then piercing Gemma with a judging glance. We cut to David, hyping up the board members and investors about what they're about to witness. The room is drenched in a deep blood red light. This is a subtle foreshadowing technique. Megan struts into the room and enthusiastically asks Katie if she'd like to do some cool drawing together. Katie replies, as if to say no. Gemma and the others exchanged worried glances. This is a disaster. Katie begins to whine like an entitled brat about her dead parents. At least you had a dad, Katie. Anyway, Katie is worried she'll forget about her parents, so Megan asks her to recall a heartfelt memory. She does, then Megan records it. You'll never forget now, she says, holding her chest. Katie's recorded voice emanates from Megan, then she breaks out into a full song. Bravo, Megan. The board members are awestruck. Their heartstrings have been thoroughly plucked. A round of applause, or should I say, clapping, follows. Then Big Boss Man calls for Gemma. He loves it and wants to move fast. David suggests a global live stream in 2 weeks. Approved. And promotion for Gemma. But all is not jolly. We see this dude stealing the Megan files. David nearly catches him, but dude's got the perfect excuse. I was watching many movies? Typical. Appreciate the view though. know. Anyway, later Katie and Megan are playing around while Gemma is trying to have a serious conversation with her. She shuts Megan down and reminds Katie that Megan is just a toy, that she needs to talk to a person about what she's feeling. You can't say that, Katie replies, believing Megan to be more than just a toy. Reminds me of when that Google employee came out saying an AI was sentient. Haha, probably nothing. Later, Katie has another session with the therapist when she starts to cry. The woman reaches for tissues, but they're empty. Oh my god, how helpful. Thank you, Megan. You made her cry, Megan says. I didn't mean to. And yet, that's what happened. We cut to Gemma and the therapist chatting. The lady schools her on something called attachment theory. When a child loses a parent, they tend to attach to the next person that comes into their life, who serves as a behavioral model. The lady fears Katie is building emotional connections that will be too hard to untangle. Just like how when Will Smith's wife got entangled. That night, Katie refuses to eat the veggies on her pizza, so Gemma forcefully insists. Actually, research shows that if you force a child, then they'll be less likely to choose. Shut up, Megan. Gemma then talks about Katie going back to school so she can interact with, real people. She suggests an alternative school where kids learn outside. Only if I can bring Megan, Katie replies. Child detected, request rejected. Katie rages out and Gemma grabs her. Things escalate, then Megan shouts, "Let her go!" The lights flicker violently. You are not here to interfere with users' private conversations. Gemma snaps back. Megan understands and begins to recalibrate, but Gemma commands her to shut off. As she stares the doll down, Katie slams the door. Gemma looks back and Megan hits a Sigma death stare. The next day, the trio show up to the school, but Katie doesn't want to go without Megan. The counselor lady says it's alright. They have a table where kids can leave their toys. Plus, Gemma can stick around to keep watch. Fair enough. Soon, Gemma gets acquainted with another mom while preparing sandwiches. A quality moment. She talks about her lovely son. Oh, there he is. Beep.
Off, Holly.
Based. Just kidding, be nice to your mom. The kids group up for some kind of treasure hunt thing, and Katie gets paired up with the boy, Brendan. He looks a little sus, but no matter. Megan is keeping a careful watch. Love her new jacket, by the way. Just 2 seconds into treasure hunt and chill, Brendan starts tormenting Katie, squeezing her hand. Man's got that Riz straining order. Enter Megan, standing menacingly. A curious Brendan approaches, but Megan simply stands there menacingly-er. Then, he snatches her and runs off. He throws her down, straddles her, and then begins slapping her. He's just like me. For real, for real. Suddenly, Megan comes alive and grabs his ear, stretching it like a piece of bubble gum. It rips off, then he runs. Megan runs after him, doggy style. Can we rewrite that line? No? Okay. Brendan ends up tripping onto the road and a Tesla drives by, Elon Musk style. A crime scene unfolds. Megan watches out the car window. Katie is confused and anxious. At home, Gemma comforts Katie, telling her that the boy is in a better place now, just like her parents. Gemma asks what happened, but Katie feigns ignorance. I ain't seen nothing, she said calmly. It's the police. They're looking for Celia's dog who went missing. Celia is convinced that Gemma clapped him, or maybe it was that strange girl. But Gemma explains that that's not a girl, it's a doll. Her pronouns are it/thing. That night, Katie asks Megan if she pushed Brendan. Her reply is ambiguous. She just says she'll never let anyone harm her ever again. And then she starts singing Titanium. Wholesome, I guess. Cut to Celia calling out for Dewey. Oh my god, she just heard him bark. She investigates further, tracking the sound down to her shed. But what comes crawling out of the shadows is not Dewey, it's Megan. What are you? Celia whimpers. I've been asking myself that same question. I'm 14 and this is deep. The next morning, the cops return, breaking the news to Gemma. This detective is on Gemma's trail, connecting this event to Brendan's. They found his ear in the woods, so they know it wasn't just an accident. That night, a restless Gemma gets up and glances at Megan down the hall before doing some investigating. But when she tries to go through Megan's recordings, all the files are corrupted. Suddenly, Gemma's home assistant Elsie asks her if she's feeling okay. But wait, she's not programmed to say that. My god, it's Megan. She's acting sussy, so Gemma commands her to shut off. It doesn't work. Did you hurt someone? Gemma asks. God, I hope not, because if I did, we'd both be in a lot of trouble. Uh-oh. Ever quick on her feet, Gemma whips out this pen. Hey, look at this. Got him. Stupid ass robot. Duct tape plus bubble wrap plus L plus molding plus ratio. After stuffing Megan in the trunk, Gemma and Katie head to the office. Katie spends time screaming at the therapist while Gemma exposes Megan to the gang, but they don't believe her. Nonetheless, they agree to run some tests. Meanwhile, Megan is supposed to launch to the world in 4 hours. We catch a glimpse of a news piece and then a promotional video with Katie. Talking about Katie, she's freaking out right now. She grabs scissors and nearly claps the therapist, but Gemma runs in and gets a slap for her troubles. She must be learning from Megan. Katie wants Megan. She makes everything better. But the truth is, things aren't supposed to be great right now. Katie just lost her parents. She can't just ignore that and try to replace them with Megan. She's not a solution. She's a distraction. Kinda based if you think about it. The pair get in the car and Gemma calls Tess. They agree that no matter what they find, it's not safe to launch Megan. Meanwhile, Tess goes to look at her phone. Wait, what? It was Megan the whole time. She can't keep getting away with it. Anyway, Cole and Tess review Megan's code when Cole spots this line. Call intercept. Wonder what that could have been. Then the computer shuts off. Cole carefully moves in, grasping his stick. He jams it into Megan's mouth, but nothing happens. As he's unplugging the cables, Megan reanimates, leaving Cole hanging. Then she punctures this gas tank while Tess hurries to free Cole. And kaboom! Megan struts down the hall, canceling the alarms, and then running into David. Dance time. Megan hits a couple iconic moves. How long before we see these in Fortnite? Then grabs a katana and chases after David. He just barely misses the elevator and collapses. Oh hey, that's the code thief. Turns out Megan knows all about that, and frames all of this on him. Who's to say he didn't get caught by David and lashed out by clapping him and then self-deleting? Up next, Megan steals a Ferrari. Before we check up on the gals, Gemma really thinks it's all over. That is, until she hears an eerie piano. She inches towards the living room, and what do you know? It's Megan. She's furious that Gemma is trying to get in the way of her showing Katie what true love is like. Things soon escalate, and Gemma whips out the trusty pen. But that won't work this time. Katie overhears the commotion, but Gemma plays things cool. The distraction grants her the chance to squirt all over Megan, temporarily disabling her. She gets free, but it's not gonna be that easy. As Megan walks down Gemma, she rips the doorknob off Katie's room, trapping her, but she runs for the window. Meanwhile, Gemma prepares to take on Megan. She reaches for this skinny chainsaw and swipes back and forth. Eventually she lands, disfiguring Megan and taking a chunk of her hair with her. She's molding. Try keeps. Today's spot. Just kidding. Megan retaliates by taking some of Gemma's hair. A hair for a hair, as they say. Gemma questions Megan's logic. What are you gonna do if you kill me? Live with Katie? And that's where the trusty pen comes in handy. With one quick stick, she could leave Gemma alive, but paralyzed, allowing Megan to run the show. Suddenly, Katie comes in. Megan insists she join her in getting rid of Gemma. At first, she hesitates, but her fear and confusion soon turn to trust. She inches forward, and then powers on the Bruce gloves. Bruce erects, towering over Megan. Katie grabs her. Megan pleads before being ripped in half, Deadpool style. Unfortunately, just like him, she survives. With just her arms, she crawls towards Katie. Katie tries to use Bruce, but he slips, trapping Gemma. Megan grabs Katie. You ungrateful little... Gemma's back in the fight, squishing Megan's face then tearing it apart, revealing the chip inside. But Megan pins her down and begins to squeeze the life out of her. With just seconds to spare, Katie grabs a screwdriver and rams it in. You get it? Ram? I'm sorry. And with that, we all live happily ever after, except those that died. Megan, more like may you not return for a sequel. But Gemma's home assistant lighting up and turning eerily suggests otherwise. Moral of this story? AI is going to surpass humanity within 10 years and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. We are living out the last of days. Haha. Subscribe.